On the morning of Sei's recommendation exam, the train suddenly stops after hitting a deer. Time slips away quickly, and she realizes she will be late. Afterwards, she even misses the last bus. Kohei, who is traveling with her, tries to help by going to his uncle's house nearby, but no one is home when he knocks. Feeling completely stuck, Sei notices a car on the tracks with the key still inside. Desperate, she begs Kohei to drive her, even though he doesn't have a license. She tells him her future depends on it. After struggling with the decision, Kohei finally takes the risk. However, when he tries to overtake a truck, another truck suddenly cuts across the intersection. Kohei panics, turns too sharply, loses control, and the car crashes. Although neither of them is hurt, Sei misses her exam and loses the recommendation. Kohei faces his furious father and gets suspended for driving without a license. Later, Sei learns from her teacher that Kohei was punished because of her and is advised to stay away from him. But when Kohei approaches her after school with a bruise on his face, clearly worried about her lost opportunity, she cannot hide her sadness. She stays silent, tears falling quietly. On the train, Kohei tries to comfort her, believing she can still enter a good university through the regular entrance exam. But Sei has lost her confidence, and her despair makes Kohei blame himself. The next morning, they meet again on the platform. Kohei hesitates, unsure how she feels, but Sei steps forward first, apologizes sincerely, and thanks him for trying to help. She also tells him she has decided to take the regular exam. Hearing this gives Kohei courage, and he gives her a package, filled with textbooks and a handwritten apology note with a few cute mistakes that make her smile. To catch up, Sei joins an evening tutoring class, and Kohei takes a part-time job nearby so he can walk her home at night. As they spend more time together, their bond naturally deepens, but their different backgrounds still weigh heavily on them. Kohei's family expects him to become a fisherman like generations before him. Sei, on the other hand, has always excelled in school and dreams of working overseas. Her mother supports her, especially since Sei's father passed away when she was 5, leaving behind a tree he planted that has never bloomed. Whenever she feels troubled, she stands under that tree, trying to feel close to him. One night, Sei tells Kohei that she was actually born in Canada, though she remembers nothing except a photo of her and her mother holding hands under a lighthouse. She says she wants to see her birthplace someday. Kohei realizes he once saw a similar lighthouse while out at sea, so he takes Sei there on his bicycle. As they stand beneath the lighthouse lights with the sea breeze brushing against them, Kohei gently takes her hand and slips it into his pocket. They look at each other for a long moment, and in the quiet glow of dusk, they finally share a soft, warm kiss. The lighthouse seems to hint that the future will test them, just like a lighthouse stands firm through separation and long nights of waiting. Soon after this moment, Sei and Kohei celebrate their first Christmas together. Kohei plans to use the money he earned from his part-time job to take Sei out for a nice dinner, but Sei is completely focused on studying. She jokes a little, but when he asks if she has been preparing for the entrance exam, she suddenly becomes serious and tells him not to walk her home anymore because she doesn't want to disturb his life. Hearing this, Kohei goes from there. Realizing she has hurt his feelings, Sei quickly gets out of the train and asks him to drop her home. At that point, Kohei feels terrible seeing her walk away in the snow, worried she will catch a cold. But Sei is more afraid of losing him than getting sick. She admits that sometimes she wants to give up college altogether, just so she can stay with him forever. Kohei feels the same way, but instead of holding her back, he encourages her to follow her dream. He believes that after graduating, Sei can travel the world, while he can become a fisherman who travels the world in his own way. After the exam results come out, Sei rushes to the docks with excitement and tells Kohei that she has been accepted into Zhao Daoxin University. Kohei freezes for a moment, then forces a smile and congratulates her, even though the thought of being separated hurts deeply. On the day Sei leaves for Tokyo, everyone comes to say goodbye except Kohei. He stays behind, pretending to be busy repairing a fishing net, refusing to face the pain of a farewell. Yet on her way to the station, Sei sees him driving a fishing boat, waving stubbornly from afar as he lets his friend hold up a sign wishing her good luck. He chooses to send her off across the sea, hoping the distance will soften the sadness in his heart. Sei promises herself she will return, but even so, one is a fisherman from a small island, and the other is a college student in a big city. No one knows if their uneven paths can truly lead to the future they imagine. At university, Sei's looks draw attention quickly, and a senior named Junichi from the photography club invites her to join. But Sei is busy searching for a part-time job, so she postpones his invitation. Junichi then offers to introduce her to a well-paid part-time job, and eventually, Sei accepts. Meanwhile, in the early days of their long-distance relationship, Sei and Kohei call each other often. Kohei shares stories from the sea, while Sei talks excitedly about the new world she's discovering. But as time passes, Sei's calls become less frequent, and Kohei's attempts to reach her often go unanswered. Sei finally agrees to join the photography club and uses her English skills to work part-time, while college life surrounds her with new experiences and temptations. Kohei, on the other hand, has only the sea breeze and the simple rhythm of fishing. When summer vacation arrives, Sei doesn't return home because she is too busy with work. For Kohei, this news hits him like a sudden wave, painful and humiliating, especially when the girl at the fishing dock who clearly likes him watches his reaction, even though she denies having feelings for him. One day while fishing, Kohei gets injured by accident. When he goes to the hospital to treat his wound, he unexpectedly meets Sei's mother, who works there as a nurse. She gently tells him that Sei has been contacting him less lately and advises him to take the initiative, reminding him that if he remains silent, someone from Tokyo might take Sei away. Sei's mother said that she never asked for anything specific in a future son-in-law. She only hopes her daughter can truly fall in love, experience a relationship she will never regret, and live a happy and peaceful life. Encouraged by her words, Kohei gathers his courage and goes to Tokyo on Christmas Day. He arrives at Sei's campus holding a small box with a handmade gift inside. When he sees her, he becomes excited. However, just as he is about to call out to her, he notices Junichi next to Saya, watching as the two of them walk away together. At that moment, Kohei feels as if his heart is quietly breaking. Afterwards, Sei brings him to a small restaurant near the campus, hoping to ease the tension. But Kohei sits with the menu in his hands, unable to think about food. To comfort him, Sei gives him the Christmas present she prepared, but Kohei remains expressionless, unable to hide his insecurity. This hurts Sei, and their emotions finally clash. Kohei storms out of the restaurant, ignoring Sei as she chases behind him. While pushing through the crowd, he is accidentally tripped by a passerby, and when he sees that the box he carried is now smashed, he loses control and gets into a fight. Sei finally reaches him and pulls him away before things get worse. Sei takes Kohei to her room and gently cleans his wounds. The sting of the gauze makes Kohei tense up, and he suddenly pulls her into a tight hug. In that one embrace, he pours out his apology, his frustration, and all the feelings he can't put into words. The next morning, Sei wakes to find him repairing the broken gift, a tiny wooden boat he crafted himself with a white flag standing on it, like a small version of the day he sent her off across the sea. He had made it hoping it would protect her no matter how far she went. Sei is moved deeply and begins to worry whether their love can survive the tests ahead, but Kohei insists that his feelings will never change. Not now, not ever. Time passes, and their long-distance love stretches across 3 years. Sei graduates from university and starts to worry about finding a job. She interviews at many companies but fails to find one that feels right. One afternoon, as she stands in front of the tall buildings feeling completely lost, Sei unexpectedly runs into Junichi. He tells her that he is leaving for New York to continue pursuing photography, and talking to him reminds her how big Tokyo is, yet how hard it is to find something she truly wants. She even begins to wonder if leaving her hometown for Tokyo was the right choice. Junichi simply tells her not to overthink it, and that life isn't only about getting a perfect job in the city. Meanwhile, Kohei is facing serious trouble back home. His father's fishing boat, which was bought on loan, is no longer making enough profit, and the family can't repay the debt. They are left with no choice but to sell the boat and work for someone else. Kohei, however, comes up with his own plan. He wants to move to Tokyo, find a new job, and stay close to Sei. But when he calls to tell her this, Sei hesitates, not because she doesn't want him near her, but because she knows how difficult life in Tokyo is and fears he will suffer. Little by little, the distance between them grows and misunderstandings quietly build up. Before they can fix anything, tragedy strikes. While working on the fishing boat, Kohei's father suddenly suffers a heart attack, and before they can even reach the hospital, he passes away. After his father's sudden death, the weight of the family falls entirely on Kohei's shoulders. He still has a mother and a sister to take care of, and it becomes clear that moving to Tokyo is impossible. After careful thought, Kohei makes the painful decision to break up with Sei over the phone. At that moment, he realizes that their relationship was never meant to reach a happy ending. The fishing nets in his hands cannot capture the moonlight of Tokyo, and the sea breeze of Hokkaido cannot fit into the future he envisions. After the breakup, their lives take completely separate paths. Kohei stays in his hometown, dedicating himself to the family business and walking closely with the girl who has long harbored feelings for him. Sei, on the other hand, turns her heartbreak into motivation, throwing herself fully into her career. Guided by Junichi, she begins working at a newspaper in New York, becoming independent, hardworking, and accomplished, though a quiet emptiness still lingers deep in her heart. Years later, when Junichi returns from abroad and plans to propose to her, Sei hesitates to answer, knowing she cannot refuse without betraying her own emotions. The next day, Sei attends her friend's wedding. Meanwhile, Kohai, whom she hasn't seen in a long time, also arrives as a guest and introduces the woman beside him as his wife. Sei listens calmly, pretending she already knew, and after his wife steps away, the two share a quiet conversation about their lives. As Kuhai looks at her, he seems close to saying something more, but in the end, he holds back, knowing they are both living lives that can no longer be changed. Their brief interaction becomes a bittersweet reminder of what they once shared. Later, after the wedding, Sei meets Kuhei at the lighthouse, the same place where their love began, at the gentle dusk that once witnessed their first kiss. She returns the small wooden boat he had made, a symbol of dreams they once shared, because she is about to settle permanently in New York and fears it can no longer return to its original port. Kuhei understands that this is not simply returning a gift, but a final farewell. As the sun slowly sinks into the sea, casting golden light over the waves, they stand together for the last time, where their love first bloomed, and the lighthouse silently witnesses this ending, as though holding their memories for eternity. Kohei drops her off at home, and they greet each other one last time. Sei walks away, seemingly calm, while Kohai watches silently. Yet as she disappears from view, the realization that they may never meet again in this life hits him with full force. Without thinking, he runs to catch up to her, and Sei, overwhelmed with emotion, stops caring about everything else and allows herself to be held by the one she has never truly let go of. In that instant, time seems to pause, and for a fleeting, perfect moment, their love feels whole again. The last time Sei and Kuhei hug each other, it is a tight embrace filled with everything they have felt for years. Probably their final farewell, carrying the weight of their deepest struggles and the most passionate love they once shared. Afterwards, Kuhei returns home, only to find his wife waiting at the door, concerned about why he is so late. He lies, claiming he was out drinking with a friend, but the excuse falls apart immediately. His wife already knows that creditors from UK Finance have been looking for him because the loan is still unpaid. What hurts her most is realizing that, even in such a critical moment, he chose to meet his ex-lover instead of facing their problems. Their marriage inevitably crumbles, and all that remains between them is a divorce agreement. Meanwhile, Sei continues her life in New York. She plans to tell Junichi about her decision to move on, but before she can, tragic news arrives. Junichi, her partner in her career, dies unexpectedly during a reporting. His death shatters not only Sei's personal bond with him, but also the future she had been working toward, forcing her to face how fragile life can be. Overwhelmed by grief and needing clarity, she decides to return to her birthplace to see the lighthouse from the photo that has stayed in her memory. Standing on the rocky shore, listening to the seagulls and the steady waves, she watches the red sun sink into the sea, feeling as if the lighthouse itself quietly guards the love she once shared and even holds a faint memory of her father. The next day, she notices a model of the fishing boat Kohei once gave her in a bar window, which confuses her because she had already returned it. After talking to the owner, she learns that Kohai's boat passes through this port every year. Feeling urgent, she rushes to the docks and shouts his name, but she can't catch up. The moment is painfully familiar, the same way she once called out to him before college. But this time, there is no response. It feels as if the most beautiful time of her youth and the love they shared are lost forever. Sei reflects on herself and young people like her, full of dreams and willing to fight for them. Her love for Kohai is pure and strong, yet life's circumstances make it impossible to hold on to. She succeeds in the city and achieves her goals, but she realizes that external success cannot fill the emptiness in her heart. Kuhei's love, in contrast, remains a quiet, unspoken comfort. Understanding the distance between them and the importance of family, she accepts her fate calmly, carrying the memories of their love with her. Finally, Sei returns to her hometown on the North Sea and stands again under the flowering tree that had never bloomed. This year it blooms fully, a symbol of time and promises kept, and she allows herself to feel the beauty of the moment and the memories it holds.